Get ready to be jolted out of the ordinary and into a world where conversations are charged with intensity and facts. The Lightning Strike Talk Radio with your host, Mohammed Fahim, broadcasting live from the heart of the city on Chicago's Progressive Talk Radio, WCPT 820 AM. Welcome to a radio show that charges through the airwaves with an electricity like no other. Here's your host, Mohammed Fahim.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to the Lightning Strike. Beautiful Sunday morning over here, 8:05. We are on WCPT. Joining me today is Dr. Sheila White, Mike Patino, Read Bible will be joining us shortly. We got a packed program for you today, folks, especially with what happened over the weekend. We all know where our country is headed, which is led by a deranged person in the White House over there. So we're going to be focusing a lot on what is happening in the Middle East, and also at the second segment over here, we're going to have Amisha Patel and Saqib Bhatti with Illinois Against the MAGA PAC joining us. At 8:30, Bushra Amiwala, who is a congressional candidate for Illinois 9th District, will join us. 8:45, Read Bible, and I will discuss this ongoing conflict in the Middle East. At 9:06, Judge Peggy O'Connell will be calling in to talk about her run for the Illinois 3rd District Appellate Court. And at 9:11, Congresswoman Murray Newman will be joining us. And at 9:20, she will be joined by Congressman Ro Khanna. 9:30, we have got Maria Muzaffar joining in. And at 9:47, is going to be Demi Palasek, state rep candidate for the 13th district, joining us. So it's going to be a full day for us today. I had a complete monologue lined up today, but what happened, yesterday has thrown everything into the zinger. But what I wanted to talk about, folks, this 3 weeks now, we have got elections on March 17th. And I wanted to address the Senate candidates that are out there hustling now. So we wanted to focus on each candidate at a time, and starting with Raja Krishnamurthy, who is ostensibly leading in the polls. And then we wanted to go next week. We'll talk about Robin Kelly, and the week after, we will talk about Juliana Stratton. And it'll be up to the people of Illinois to make a decision as to who they want to send to the Senate. Now, Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy has been consistently throwing money in advertising. He has $28 million in his election fund. Folks, just look at the numbers. $28 million. Who gave him all that money? And then he sticks his finger up in the air, and he wants to just look at what is happening, and then he gets his ads to reflect what his advisors tell him are the key issues of the day. So he started off criticizing President Trump. I'm against Trump. I'm against Trump. I'm against Trump. And then Sheila, he switched his attack ads to, oh, I'm against ICE. I'm against ICE. I'm against ICE. And now he's going after Juliana Stratton with negative advertising. So this guy has absolutely no depth to himself, and all he's doing is trying to fool the people of Illinois into electing him for the next 6 years. Remember, folks, Krishnamurthy lost the first few elections that he ran in, and then he got slotted into Tammy Duckworth's spot by the Democratic Party, and that is how he won, supposedly, his first congressional race. Now, while in Congress, the guy has had absolutely no record of anything productive that he has done. So if you go back and check out his record in Congress, you will see that all he ended up doing in the first first couple of terms was, oh yeah, rename a couple of post office after veterans. And I had challenged him in 2019 when I found out that he was on the same stage as Narendra Modi, India's prime minister in Houston, where Narendra Modi held up Donald Trump's hand and told the Indian diaspora to re-elect Donald Trump for another 4 years. Now, what was my congressman from the 8th district doing in Houston, Illinois? That is a question that I had for him. And when I had gone to Houston to protest against Narendra Modi coming into our country. Narendra Modi was banned for a number of years by the United States. He was not allowed to come. And then when Trump and his cohorts got together, they, removed that restriction on Modi. And he came over here, right? And so every Indian origin congressperson declined to go over there. And my congressman shows up over there, and his excuse is that he is representing his constituents. What constituents do you have in Houston, Raja? That is the question that I have for you. And if you have any sense at all, you will answer that question. The problem with this guy, folks, is this. Okay, he spends most of his time collecting money. Okay, making phone calls, collecting money, taking money from whatever sources that he can, and then he says that he is representing his constituents. That is something that we need to address, and we will be addressing it in detail today. We've got a couple of guests joining us. Amisha Patel and Saqib Bhatti will be joining us to talk about who Raja Krishnamurthy is, and let's do a deep dive into that. It's 12 minutes past 8 o'clock. We'll take a quick break and come back on the other side of the break with our guest. And we do have a person of the week that we had slated for today. But with all of these things happening, we have decided to move him to next week. Jim Slanka will be joining us next week, not this week. And we'll be right back after a quick break. You're listening to WCPT 820 AM. I'm your host, Muhammad Fahim.
Good morning, everyone. I finally got over my technical difficulties and can join you.
Good morning, Reed.
Good morning.
Good morning, Reed. Thank you for joining.
Good morning. You got my tech guy now.
Yeah, he moved over here. Yeah.
It's important that you're here, Reed. It's important that you're here. We need the Bible this morning.
So,
thank you. Yeah, Genesis right here.
Let's come back to the discussion. And Saqib, I just want to introduce you to my team over here. Dr. Sheila White is our Person of the Week producer. She's been with the show from the beginning. Mike Patino is our political segment producer. He joined us about a couple of months back. Reed Bible joins us from Henderson, Nevada. Reed is a former special supervisory agent for ICE. He's also a retired immigration attorney and a Will County board member. And in the 9 o'clock hour, we'll be joined by Congresswoman Marie Newman. She is a regular member of our team. And Marie is actually going to be interviewing Ro Khanna today. So we're going to have a lot of firepower in the second hour. But welcome, Saqib and Amisha. If Amisha, if you could please unmute yourself and introduce yourself. Let's see what we are going to be talking about today. So, Raja Krishnamurthy, Saqib, what brings you to the table?
We're here because we know that Raja is wrong for Illinois. He is wrong. He's out of touch because of the money he's taken from MAGA donors, from the money he's taken from AIPAC, the Israeli lobby, the fact that he takes money from the fascist, from fascist aligned in India. We know that he's out of touch with Democrats in Illinois, and we know that he is wrong for our state. And it's time to reject Raja.
Okay, and I see Amisha over here. Amisha, good morning. Thank you for joining on the Lightning Strike on WCPT.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Okay, folks, if you have any questions, if you want to join the conversation, the number to call in is 773-763-9278. Let me repeat that, 773-763-9278. You can also text us at that number. And we had promised that this 3 weeks, we will be talking about our senatorial candidates. And we're going to start off this week with Raja Krishnamurthy. So, Amisha, what brings you into the mix over here?
Sure. Well, I'm a longtime community and labor organizer in Illinois, and I'm a South Asian woman who has very clear values about my community and our role in our community. I'm here because I'm part of Illinois Against MAGA, and we are a new PAC that has been built up because we need to lift up the reality of Raja Krishnamurthy and the reality of the donors behind Raja Krishnamurthy, because we don't think enough people know who's actually supporting him and whose money he's taking. And we are here because we want to lift up and make sure as many Illinois voters know as possible the MAGA leadership, the Trump leadership, the Project 2025 leadership that have all given money to Raja Krishnamurthy. So I'm here because it is really important to me that we reject Raja and that I do all I can to make sure that everyone knows what's at stake in this election.
Okay, so let's bring some receipts to the table over here. Saqib, when you say that he has taken money from MAGA donors, I know that Raja did take money from the CEO of Palantir, okay? And when he was caught with his hand in the cookie jar, he said, oh, no, I'm going to donate this money to another organization that is dealing with immigrants and all of that. So when he gets caught, he pulls this maneuver. So what other receipts do you have, guys?
Yeah, I mean, first, when he took the Palantir money and when he was asked about it, the first thing he said is, well, what his spokesperson said is, well, we take money from anybody. Well, why do you take money from anybody, right? Why are you up for the highest bidder? You're supposed to represent us. In addition to one of the execs at Palantir, he took a lot of money from Mark Andreessen. Mark Andreessen is a major Trump donor. He is someone who does not believe in democracy. He thinks that we should have rule by tech bros. He thinks that he has said that anti-racism and anti-sexism are politically lethal. He is a literal fascist. I don't understand how Raja can take money from a fascist and then go speak at a No Kings rally. It makes no sense.
I would love, folks, for Raja Krishnamurthy to come on the show with us, and we would, we're going to keep it open for him anytime he wants. Mike, you want to reach out to Raja's team and see if he would like to come on next week with us?
Yes, definitely. I will definitely do that.
Okay, and if he declines, we will know why he declined. And not only that, folks, let's not forget that a couple of weeks back, we had Mahatma Gandhi's great-grandson on the show with us, Tushar Gandhi. And most people don't know that the person who murdered Mahatma Gandhi belonged to the party that Raja Krishnamurthy is aligned with back in India. That is Modi's RSS, which is the Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh. Let me translate those terms for you. Dr. White, do you know what the Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh stands for?
No, I don't.
Okay, so Rashtriya is basically nationalistic. Swayam Sevak is self-serving, okay, serving themselves, and Sangh is a group. So these guys are all about serving themselves, and the party was actually started by a guy called as Guru Golwalkar. Okay, I know my Indian history, folks. I used to teach that. Okay, now where did Golwalkar get his concepts from? He got it straight from the Nazi Party in Germany. So that is the background of Narendra Modi's party, and Narendra Modi is Raja's great friend. And when the RSS decided to have a convention, an international convention here in Lombard in Illinois, and they had their chief come in, every Congress person of Indian origin, from Pramila Jaipal to you name them, they declined to attend that convention. And guess what? Raja Krishnamurti shows up over there. To Raja, it's not about concepts, it's not about conscience, it's all about money. Whatever that he can get to get elected. So I want to get your take on that, Saqib and Amisha.
Yeah, so my wife is a Gujarati Muslim. I'm Muslim as well. And the thing that really comes to mind for me is that while Narendra Modi was the chief minister of Gujarat, he oversaw a genocide of Gujarati Muslims.
And that's why he was banned from coming into the country.
Yes, that's why he was banned from coming to the country. Over 2 million people were displaced.
Okay, Saqib, 1 second, if you don't mind. We got Dave calling in to talk about foreign contributions of Raja. If you can, Dylan, if you could please patch Dave into the conversation.
He's on.
Hey, Dave, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Oh, no trouble. Yeah, I heard you were talking about these various Congress people that seem to have outside influences, and it crosses my mind, not only is perhaps Modi contributing to one of your Congress people, but whether or not we should look at these cryptocurrencies as outside money coming in. You never know who's behind, who owns cryptocurrency, and is it considered a foreign contribution? Technically, no congressman is supposed to accept foreign money, but these cryptocurrencies they sure look like, the possibility of who actually owns a cryptocurrency and whether or not these politicians are on the take from Putin, from Saudi Arabia, from God knows Modi, who knows where this money is coming from.
Well, Dave, thank you for calling in. Where are you listening to us from, Dave?
Oh, I'm out in San Francisco.
Okay.
Somewhat the home of these weird cryptocurrencies.
Okay, so that's where the crypto thing is coming in. Here's the thing, Dave. At one point in 2019, when I had challenged Radha Krishnamurti to run for Congress for the 8th district, okay, he immediately challenged my petition. He had never challenged anyone's petitions in his life. And at that point, he had more money in his campaign fund than both the state senators combined. Now, my question always has been, if you have so much money, then you're selling yourself to some other interest. Saqib, what do you say to that?
Sure.
100%. And I think,
Yep.
To Dave's point, we know that he takes a lot of money from foreign interest, right? From organizations that are actually pushing agendas that are not aligned with our values, such as AIPAC, which was responsible for really lobbying very heavily for the genocide in Gaza, that is right now lobbying very heavily for the war in Iran that Americans don't want. We know that he takes money from RSS supporters in the U.S., who we know again are responsible for pushing fascism and a Hindu supremacist vision in India. You talk about cryptocurrencies. Mark Andreessen is a major cryptocurrency investor. This guy is completely out of touch with Illinois Democrats, and that's why we need to reject Raja.
Okay, and Amisha, we got about 6 minutes to finish off this segment. Let me see if Dr. White or Mike or Reed have any questions for you, gentlemen and ladies. So go ahead, guys. You got any questions for our guest? Let's start with Sheila.
Well, yeah, I just want to thank you all for being here. It's very important what you're saying and the fight that you have. I just think without any absolute authority for right or wrong, humans in every generation have devised a multitude of excuses to justify abuse. And this is just another when the money comes into the game. Hatred doesn't need any logic, only permission. And the money provides the permission for this type of thing. I just think that we should be saying never again we would remember never again if we don't speak out, and never again if we don't act. And now is the time in this voting season. That's
Okay,
it.
so folks,
Well stated.
one of the things that I would again like to emphasize is this is nothing personal against Raja Krishnamurthy. Okay,
Right.
he may be a great person, a great human being, but the policies that
That's
he is espousing and the interest that he is representing, we as American citizens have the right to ask him to explain himself. We have the right to challenge him. One of the things that we want to, when we started the show about 2.5 years back, the main intent was we're going to hold our elected representatives accountable for their actions or their inactions. And that is how we can make sure that we have a functioning democracy. So, Amisha, you want to jump in and continue the conversation a little bit? And thank you, Sheila, for your comments.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Sheila, your comments are completely right, and our role really, as residents of the state, as people who care about the values and that we believe in, is to lift up when people are saying one thing, but then actually taking money from the people who they're actually saying they're against. So anyone can talk and can say all the things about what they're up against, what they're against, and what they're for. And I think if you notice some of the things that Raja says as candidate, he talks about he's against, when asked if he would abolish ICE, he said he would abolish Trump's ICE. There's like these little distinctions that if you don't notice and catch, you're missing the fact of like actually what's underneath that, right? And I think we have to ask ourselves, why are these right-wing donors supporting Raja Krishnamurthy? What is it that they think they'll gain by giving him those funds? And I think the answer is pretty clear to us, which is that they'll get their interests represented. And it's a real question about why is it that he's taking these funds. So as Saqib said, that when his spokesperson first was, questioned about this, it's like, well, anyone who supports us will take their dollars. Mm-hmm. And then quietly, he returned some of the money. Actually, he didn't return any of the money. Okay. He donated some of the money, but he has not donated all of the money. And the question to me is, well, you could have been donating money to support immigrant rights organizations this entire time. You have this massive war chest. Why haven't you been donating to support organizations who are fighting for immigrant rights or fighting for other issues facing our communities? So he only did this after pressure, right? Only did this after we were lifting up and others were lifting up. Wait a minute, look at this trail of dollars and what's happening here. So I think that we've got a lot of work to do, but I think it's working. I think we're really starting to define this race. Like people are looking at the role of right-wing donors in our elections in Illinois and Democratic elections, as they should. And so we need to continue this. We need to make sure that more people, understand this, that we spread the word about what's happening. And I think that that's really like there's a moment here when you're seeing an uprising across the country of people fighting back against this authoritarian regime. We need to have an elected leadership that will champion that fight against authoritarianism. That's not Raja Krishnamurthy. And that's why we're here to say we must reject Raja.
And we will be asking these questions to the other Senate candidates also as to where are they getting the funding from, what have their performance been so far. And so it's not just that we are talking about Raja Krishnamurthy today, folks, but today was specifically about Raja. Next week is going to be about Robin Kelly, and then the week after, Juliana Stratton. So these are our elected officials, folks. These are elected by us to represent us, not the special interest that are buying them with the money, okay? And if they cannot answer, you don't want them representing us. So keep it in mind and go and check out the record of these candidates and see what they have done for you, the voter, not the people that are funding them. Amisha, thank you very much. Sakit, thank you very much for joining us. Stay tuned to the show and keep on listening. Spread the word that we have to hold our elected representatives accountable. As simple as that. It is not so much about an individual. It is about a person who wants to represent the community at large, and we have a right to question them. And if you could please give some information about how people can contact you, your organization, we'll finish off on that. We got Bushra Amala joining us shortly.
Sure, I can share. We have a website, illinoisagainstmaga.com. So that's the best way to find out about, again, more details about these donors, specific receipts, as you said, Mohammed, like all the information that you need to understand who is supporting Raja Krishnamurthy. We are on Instagram and Facebook. Find us, support us, and spread the word.
Okay, folks, again, thank you both for joining us. Good morning, Bushra. We bring in Bushra Amiwala, who's running for the 9th Congressional District. And Bushra is actually facing some big headwinds in her race. And okay, Bushra, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me today.
Good morning. How's the campaign going, Bushra? I see that you're all over the place, man. You're being invited to debates and stuff with the others now.
Yes, it's great. I mean, we're in a race with 16 people right now, and we just had our 330th meet and greet in the district that we host at someone's living room, garage, backyard, front yard. It's our house parties hosted by neighbors for neighbors. We've touched almost 5,500 people through that one mode alone. I've spoken at every college and university in the district that has commuter students or community colleges, and every high school except for one in the district as well. So we're really busy because we're choosing to be busy to meet our voters and community members exactly where they're at.
So, Bushra, how many doors have you knocked?
So our campaign has knocked an upwards of about 80,000 doors collectively
Wow.
the entire campaign. And we're really proud of that, honestly. We've been knocking since July, passively, very actively and aggressively since petition season, particularly in October. But we found that the door answer rate, and I don't think this has to do with any one candidate or campaign, the door answer rate is low. When it's cold, people don't want to answer the door. It doesn't matter that it's the only time someone's knocking on it. But that's why our phone banking efforts have actually been a little bit more productive and impactful because people are more likely to answer the phone, engage in conversation than they are answer the door.
Okay, I think Mike has a question for you. Mike, I see that you've raised your hand. Let's see if Bushra can answer the question that you have. What's on your mind, Mike?
Good morning, Bushra. Good to see you again.
Great to see you too.
How is the campaign going up in the northern area where I live, up in McHenry County, northern Cook County?
It's great. I'm really lucky that we've had our handful of meet and greets there, and a lot of people that come to our events share that I'm one of the only candidates they've seen more than once out there, and I'm proud to have been there more than once. McHenry County is not just a community where we check a box to say we've been, but we're actively nurturing our precinct captains and committee people out there as well. We're actively connecting and engaging with not only the local leaders to reach voters exactly where they're at, and the exact same message that I am running in Uptown or Skokie resonates deeply in McHenry County too.
So, Bushra, what are you hearing from the constituents? What are the top concerns that people have? I keep hearing different aspects of it, like Gaza is going to be the defining factor because we got a Palestinian American running in the race. According to some polls that I have seen, the top concerns are not, Gaza, even though Gaza is so important for us, with the genocide going on over there, that is extremely important. But as a typical American, everyday American, what are the top issues that you are hearing from people in the district?
It's healthcare, immigration, particularly an anti-ICE sentiment, democracy, whether our elections or voting rights even matter or are protected in this current administration, and anti-war. We don't want our tax dollars funding endless wars when we can't afford housing, healthcare, and groceries. It really just comes down to that. It's that simple.
And that's what the polls have been showing consistently, that it is everyday matters for Americans. It is not so much a foreign war going on in another part of the world that is going to be impacting us. What our president has started recently now. If you are in Congress, what would you do, Bushra?
Well, one, this is another grounds for impeachment. I mean, I've been saying this since the first time the United States unlawfully bombed Iran. Like, we have no business or right to be engaging in this way, and our legislative branch is the only branch of government that has the power to entice acts of war. So I would also be someone that holds up on the War Powers Resolution. We have these checks and balances in place, and the reason why we hear threats to democracy is because our judicial branch and legislative branch is controlled by our executive branch as well. But that is why the political courage required by a Democrat that's elected in a district like mine, a safe blue seat in a safe blue state like Illinois, can actually push bold agenda forwards and lead the grounds for impeachment. I can name 3 impeachable offenses already right now.
Absolutely, folks. Our guest today on the Lightning Strike is Bushra Amiwala. She's running for Congress in the primary on March 17th in Illinois' 9th Congressional District. I've got our panel over here with Mike Patino, Read Bible, and Dr. Sheila White. Dr. White, you got any questions for Bushra?
Yes, thank you so much for being here, Bushra. I would like to know, how do you balance border security with protecting, the rights of civil rights for individuals and due process, especially for asylum seekers and mixed status families?
Due process is a right that every single person in this country has, regardless of your documentation status. And that is what is being lost upon and infringed upon, particularly by groups and agencies such as ICE. And that is why I am in favor of abolishing ICE. I've been around longer than ICE has. ICE is a racist institution that was created as a direct response to 9/11 23 years ago and immediately diverted its attention to our Latino brothers and sisters. And it, again, to your point, Dr. Sheila, it does not uphold due process. That alone is grounds for this being an unconstitutional organization. But on top of that, they have a quota system. So if you pick up X amount of people in Y amount of time, you now make Z amount of money. And that reward merit system is what's furthering this prison, militarized industrial complex that our government is already privy to pushing forward. So really, that means that the money that's being put in ICE, if we invested even a third of that into the courts system, in the humane path to citizenship process that we already have, we would finally be able to deal with the backlogs of people that have been waiting a decade, going on 15 years, to hear back for their interview and citizenship process.
So, Bushra, following up on that, I want to bring Read Bible into the conversation. Read is a former special supervisory agent for ICE. He was there when ICE was being formed. And Read, what do you feel is the difference between when you were with the Department of Homeland Security and what our current ICE people are doing?
Well, good morning, Bushra, by the way. Welcome back to the show. Nice to see you, and good luck to you in your campaign. I just want to make a slight correction as to what you said about the genesis of ICE. When ICE began, it immediately started focusing on the Muslim American community. And I think that they were overzealous back then about violation of the rights of Muslims, intruding into their privacy, doing extraordinary scrutiny of that community, that sort of thing, to the point where they were becoming abusive of the religious rights of Muslims. And I won't deny that there probably were members of the agency that had a prejudice against Islam, for example, because they were Christians, and that wasn't right. But it started to shift from making the Muslims the bad guys to, as you mentioned, shifting over to basically racial profiling of Hispanics. And it has deteriorated since then. When I was there, we definitely taught that you do not engage in racial profiling. It is unconstitutional. It violates due process. And I've seen nothing more than shifting further and further in that direction and that disturbs me. But and I agree with you on your take on the current way ICE is operating. It's deteriorated, and it needs to be abolished because it's the secret police. And so I get your take on it, and I'm curious because you sound like the kind of person we need in Congress that remembers what your responsibilities are to hold the executive branch accountable, and you're not going to abdicate your responsibilities or delegate it to the executive branch. But I would like for you to contrast your number one issue where you have the greatest contrast between you and your opponents in that race in District 9.
The biggest contrast for me right now is lived experience. I'm the only candidate that has lived in this district my entire life, which is just a slight caveat to the broader issue when I talk about lived experience. When we saw the government shut down, that was about 47 days long, and SNAP was being gutted. One of the only candidates in this race that actually grew up on SNAP meant that issue was deeply personal. Not only that, we organized with our groups locally in the community 10 years ago for a statewide referendum on the ballot in 2016 that made sure that state funding can fill in the event if federal funding cannot for SNAP. So that entire process was something that it's deeply personal to me from fighting standpoint, not only through the organizing world and activism work, but the intersection of where public policy meets that moment as well. And that is exactly the type of leadership that we need right now in 2026 when we see that just legislative work and just work within this political system is not enough. It requires pressure on the outside, but movement building and organized building that does not escalate to violence, because that same type of organizing effort can be used against the movement. So it requires an intentional, thoughtful amount of leadership that cannot just begin overnight, but requires decade-long relationships with people in the district and organizations who have been doing this work and giving that credit where it's due as well. That essentially is a route to every single topic at hand, something even such as FAFSA that was cut in the one big ugly bill that we all call it. That I needed FAFSA to be able to afford to attend college. The number one community college is in our district, and that is something deeply personal to me. I taught a side class while in high school to students there too. Like, these are not just talking points for a candidate such as myself that I had to Google search to understand this community. It's something that is deeply ingrained in the fabric of the way that I've continued to lead since the inception of my time in the political space. And I know it's something that constituents see, whether it be at forums or debates or even at the doors, because they come and tell me that that is why they are voting for me.
But you can't be accused of being a carpetbagger. Sounds.
But you know, it's I don't even want to just pick on that, because there are candidates who have been elected in this community who we have not seen unless it's campaign season either. So it goes in every direction. By no means is it just towards one person at all.
All right. Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, folks, here's the thing that we have to understand. Okay, the carpetbagger thing that Reed referred to, that's okay, Reed, if someone is flying in on a magic carpet and bringing some value to the constituents of the district. But if someone is coming in just on the fact that, oh, I'm a national this and I'm a national this, I worked for this, I worked for Zeteo, and I worked for Mother Jones. Yeah, you don't have any real lived experience like Bushra has in the 9th district. And by the way, folks, personally, on my behalf, I have not endorsed any candidate in any of the races except for Bushra. And I got a lot of flack for endorsing Bushra from the community at large. That's fine. Understand their concerns also. But you have to understand something. When you want to represent your constituency, you have to have a lived experience in that constituency. You have got to have some legislative and community building experience with other organizations in the community. You just cannot have a ton of money that you raised at the national level and then come in and say, I want to represent the community. If money is going to be everything, then I think Raja Krishnamurthy is going to be winning the Senate race, right, Mike?
Right, not.
Okay, right, not.
Not.
So, folks, it is 8:45. We have been talking with Bushra for about 15 minutes. Reed, I think I want to keep Bushra on for another few minutes, if you don't mind, before we go to our session. It is very important, folks. Early elections, early voting has started. Make sure that you go out and vote. I know, especially for the Muslim community, it's Ramadan. We kind of tend to hibernate in Ramadan, but it is very important, folks. Primary elections are which they decide what is going to happen in November. So don't take the primaries lightly. Okay. So Bushra, early voting in your district, where can people go and vote early?
So early voting started everywhere officially. It'll start tomorrow, March 2nd. We on our social media and our website have posted every single early voting location on our website because it can be kind of confusing to find. So you have to make sure that you vote in your designated county just to be safe. So if you live in McHenry County, early vote in a McHenry County location. If you live in Cook County, early vote at a Cook County location. It's everything from courthouses, so Skokie Courthouse, Arlington Heights Courthouse, to community centers, civic centers. That full list is on our social media and on our website to make sure that voting is easy as possible. And we're responding to all direct messages that our campaign is receiving through social media to directly answer some questions for some of the people that are voting for the first time and maybe at least just in a primary. So we're happy to be a resource to make this as easy as possible.
Okay, and what is your website, Bushra?
It's bushraforcongress.com. That's BUSHRA for Congress.com.
And folks, remember that if you are challenged by any of the election judges as to your eligibility to vote, ask for a provisional ballot. Don't just give up. Ask them for a provisional ballot, which is your right, and make sure that you vote. And also vote by mail. And when you vote by mail, they have changed the rules a little bit this time. So get your ballot in the mail as quickly as possible. Don't wait till the last day to send in your mail-in ballot. It has to be franked in before the date of the election. On that note, Mike, I see that you had some question for Bushra, and we'll finish off on that note.
Well, just one little question. I just wanted to get if it was Bushra 4 with a 4 or FOR.
It's bushrafor congress.com. Thank you for clarifying. Thank you.
Okay.
Just want to make
Thank you,
sure.
folks. So Bushra Amiwala, all the best, Bushra, and keep on trucking. That's all I can say. Okay, this is just the beginning of the political career for you at the national level, and we wish you all the best. And thank you again for joining us this morning. If you have any questions, folks, feel free to call in. The number to call in is 773-763-9278 or 773-763-WCPT. This is the Lightning Strike. I'm your host, Muhammad Fahim. Switching now to Reed Bible. Reed, good morning.
Good morning, Muhammad, and good morning, the whole team, as well as Chicago and the listeners across the nation. It's
Okay,
March.
Reed. So
It's March.
let's continue the conversation, Reed. We have our crazy president who said that he is not going to have a war,
Yeah.
ever. He was the president who was going to be finishing all the wars or stopping all the wars and taking credit for stopping how many wars that he did not stop?
7, I guess he thinks, or something.
Okay.
This, Muhammad, this is like a bad sequel to a bad movie. Here we go again. This is Iraq 2, with starring the co-felons Bibi Netanyahu and Donald J. Trump. Only this one doesn't have any producers because Congress has not authorized it. Whereas at least with the one involving Iraq, Congress did authorize it. And as Bushra was pointing out, and I'm sure we're going to get into this when Congressman Ro Khanna comes on, this is an illegal war. Let's get to the fundamentals of this. First of all, the Constitution of the United States, I hate to keep harping on that document, but it's kind of important to our democracy. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution gives exclusive authority to Congress to declare a war. And when Donald Trump he delivered his State of the Union address last Tuesday night, he made no mention of the fact that he's planning on in just a few days starting a war along with Israel against Iran. No justification being offered, no explanation, nothing. It's just last Friday night, late at night, our time, suddenly we're getting this news that we're back in a war again. And he did not go to Congress to get authorization for that. And it just.
So, hang on one second, Reed. Something I want to interject over here. Social media is not the right place to get the facts.
Yeah.
Please keep it in mind. If you want facts, tune in to WCPT during the week, because one of the things that WCPT is very proud of, we say that at WCPT, facts matter.
Absolutely.
Okay. Facts matter. Please keep that in mind. All the other media that you see out there has been bought and sold many times to different interests. Look at what happened, Reed, with WGN. I mean, they laid off like 8 of their top talent overnight. They just fired them because Nexstar Media bought them out. Nexstar Media comes in from Texas. Okay, it's a national organization that is going around buying media all over the country. And guess what? No freedom of speech in there. But again, sorry, I had to butt in over there. There are lots of social media posts going around, okay, claiming this and claiming that. Be very, very, very of those claims, folks. AI can generate any kind of video. Remember that.
Yeah.
AI can generate any kind of audio. Remember that. To come back to Reed's point.
Well, like I said, I just want to get that this is a fundamental point before we get into the rest of the conversation, is that we have a constitution in this country, and it establishes separation of powers. That's a basic concept. Do we have a democracy or don't we have one? Are we going to abide by our constitution or not? Conservatives and liberals and everybody in between the two should be able to agree, at least on that point, is that a president does not have the authority to engage us in war. And this is what Trump himself has called it. He's called it a war. So we have to stop having an absentee Congress. They need to get on board with this. They need to be getting into session immediately and decide whether or not we're going to have this president be permitted to do this or not. I think that if they don't have a war powers resolution sometime before the end of this upcoming week, at least they ought to institute impeachment proceedings against this president, because he's in flagrant violation of our Constitution, and he knows that he's doing that. So, and I think Congressman Ro Khanna will probably be addressing this matter later on in the broadcast. So I hope so. But as you were mentioning before, Mohammed, this is a president who definitely ran on a promise to not being engaged or engaging our country in these forever wars. And at these wars that just don't make any sense for us to be involved with, including regime change. He specifically said no regime change wars. And yet in the 250 years that we've been in existence now, 232 years of our existence, we've been involved in some kind of a war. So that appeal that Trump made when he was running was very attractive. Because Americans are tired of this, being in wars constantly, and 80% of the US population is against this war. And it's a war against a country that is no immediate threat to this nation. Why are we bothering with Iran?
Well, for the past 30 years now, Netanyahu has been coming over here, and every time he comes over here, he pulls the same stunt that Iran is 1 week away from producing a nuclear bomb for the past 30 years. Okay.
Yeah.
And now the last war that happened, the 12-day war, our president claimed that we have gone and totally decimated their nuclear production capabilities.
Yeah.
Okay. So now what's the new excuse? Oh, they are making anti-ballistic missiles and all of that. Okay. So we need to go take that out. After that, what's the next excuse? Oh, they are making baby formula. Let's take out those, baby formula factories.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're absolutely right.
you know, the excuses keep on coming, and we have these all our assets over there now, and the cost to us, the taxpayer, is tremendous, folks. It is millions of dollars. And our president had the gall to come out and say that there might be some American lives that are going to be lost.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
For what? Have any of these Republicans, like people like to call them, have they got any of their family and friends out there fighting? Have they got their children out there laying their lives out? Has Baron Trump signed up? Or does he have bone spurs also in his heels?
You can rest assured that Bibi Netanyahu's son Yair or Donald Trump's son Barron will not be fighting this war. It will be the blood that will be shed will be our sons and daughters who will be out there being killed, and for what? And what expense? You know, Iraq and Afghanistan cost us $1.5 trillion, and that was just the direct cost. There are indirect costs involved with it too. And there's going to be a whole lot more added to the national debt with our involvement here. And what are we doing? We're serving the interests of Israel. Bibi Netanyahu, he is hell-bent on establishment of the greater Israel, which means he wants all the land from the Nile River to the Euphrates, all now Israel. Forget about the Palestinians or any of the other Arab nations. Israel's been working on this since 1967, that war, and they've been taking and annexing lands from their neighbors in Egypt or their neighbors in Syria. They're bombing Lebanon right now. They're taking Gaza, and they're in the process of trying to annex the West Bank of the Jordan River, all because they're not happy with what they've got for land. They've got a homeland. They want the entire area, and they're all.
Well, let's not forget, Reed, that our ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. Folks, I want you to go and check out Tucker Carlson's videos on YouTube or tuckercarlson.com. I would have never thought that I would recommend Tucker Carlson to any of our listeners, okay? But the guy is making sense. And Mike Huckabee, who is a pastor also, claims that the Bible gives the right to Netanyahu to conquer all the lands in that region. This is our ambassador, folks.
Exactly.
Okay.
Since when is our foreign policy supposed to be driven on the basis of theocracy? But they're citing the Bible. This is a biblical mandate that Israel is predestined to have all this land, according to Huckabee, and also some of our presidents, past and maybe the current one too. We're supposed to be a secular government. We're not supposed to be a theocracy, but our foreign policy now is being driven by the Bible. And I'm a Christian myself. I'm not going to say that I'm against Christianity, but I am against Christianity driving our foreign policy or our secular government. We've got to have the separation of church and state.
And we need to get this Huckleberry Finn, to really lay down his boat and come, and come out of the water over there, folks. This is so crazy that what we are doing, and it is not just the immediate war, Reed, the economic catastrophe that is going to follow this thing. We are going to see everything go up again. We're going to see, Iran is obviously going to be defending themselves by closing off the Strait of Hormuz. When they do that, 45% of the world's commerce is going to be impacted. Okay. Guess what that's going to do to our economy. Okay. Our banks are going to collapse. Our prices are going to go up. Oh God, I don't even want to go there. Okay. Everything is going to hell in a handbasket because our president is actually not Donald Trump, but Netanyahu.
Yeah. Yeah, and not to mention that 1/5 of the world's oil supply goes through the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. Prices are going to go up on that,
Yeah.
but that's another debate. But I wanted to get us into a little bit of the incentives behind this, the motives on the part of Trump.
Okay, let's wait for the station to take a break.
Okay.
So we will continue the conversation on Facebook while the station is taking a break at 9 o'clock for the top of the hour with NBC. Reed, let us continue the conversation. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, well, one of the things is Trump has gotten all kinds of goodies since he's been president in this past year. Saudi Arabia has given his son $2 billion to invest. Was it Qatar, I think it is, gave him a plane. And the United Arab Emirates gave him about $2 billion of investment in his family's cryptocurrency business. So he's got some favors that he has to give to our Arab allies in the Middle East. And I think he's trying to make good on his promises because he's been paid, in addition to helping out Bibi Netanyahu. I think so that's one of his motives behind this. And another very insidious one that I hope people are attuned to is that suddenly the Epstein files have brought us some new news that there was a woman who was 13 years of age at the time when she was viciously raped and beaten by Donald Trump. This is her allegations. It has yet to be proven, but it is an allegation out there. And I don't think Trump was very thrilled about that revelation. And so what better way to distract the attention of the American public than to, hey, let's have a war. And so
one shiny object after the other, Reed. And folks, please pay attention to what our, magical president is doing. Every time that something comes out, he says, "Hey, don't look here, look over there." Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
he was also talking about he's going to be having some information about aliens that has been okay.
How desperate he is, yeah.
Okay, that has been suppressed by previous presidents. So anything to just distract attention. Okay, we are taking a break on WCPT at the top of the hour, folks, but continuing the conversation over here on Facebook, and we will put all of this information on our website, tlsradio.com, that you can go back and visit these conversations again, and also on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. So feel free to go and subscribe, and we want to see more and more people listening to this. And I keep on coming back to the point over here, Reed. It's facts. Facts matter. And the fact of the matter is that our foreign policy is not being dictated by us. It is being dictated by a foreign country. And we are just sitting over here and listening to all of these guys jumping in. We got some right-wing commentators, Mike Levin and others, that guy froths at the mouth when he talks.
Anything for Israel when it comes to Mike Levin or some of these others, yeah.
Okay. And where does that leave us? We're supposed to be America first. I want to get Sheila's take on this. Sheila has been patiently listening to this. Sheila, your country, my country, our country, is this our president?
You know what? This conversation, it's just, there has been a trail of tears on American soil for generations. As we talk about what's happening, we don't need to have more tears on American soil and doing this. I think there's no speech that can be given or no law that can be passed or no publicity campaign that can solve or erase the American culture implications. All of these things that are happening, all of these things that are going on has been going on for years. And I am just hearing it. It's just a regurgitation of the same war, same people fighting for money, people fighting for power, greed. And like I said, there has been this trail of tears that has been shed on American soil. It doesn't look like it's ending. And like I said, I don't think there's a campaign or publicity campaign or a speech or anything that can be given to erase the abuse of all these cultural implications that have been going on from other countries coming over and, implementing themselves in American soil. It's
Okay,
just too
and
much.
thank you, Sheila. We are joined by Judge Peggy O'Connell on the line over here on the phone line on WCPD. Good morning, Judge. How are you?
Al, how are you?
Thank you so much for joining.
How
I
are
know that
things?
it was a very short notice, and you have got a campaign that you are running for, and early in the morning on Sundays. How's the campaign going, Peggy?
It's good. It's good. Since I was last with you, I just wanted to give a brief update. First off, I am running for the 3rd District for the Appellate Court, which does encompass 7 counties. And so I've got Will, DuPage, Grundy, Kankakee, LaSalle, Bureau, and Iroquois counties.
Wow.
And since I was last on, I've been working really hard, and I have received the endorsements of almost all of our local labor, the AFL, the CIO, the teachers union, the trades from both DuPage and also the building trades of the Illinois Valley, which encompasses LaSalle, Bureau, and Putnam County, even though that's not one of my counties. Many of their members live there as well. So I've been really excited about that.
Well, I take my hat off to judges, folks. Judges are our best line of defense to maintain our liberties in the country, and judges have a very, very tough job. It is not easy being a judge. Okay, you have to follow rules. You have to follow regulations. You cannot bring your personal views into making a decision. Peggy, one of the things that I spoke about last time that we spoke about is the sentencing guidelines that judges have, especially for young offenders. And my main concern has always been that prosecutors are kind of putting their notches on how many long sentences they got in any court. Okay, it's like a car salesman. How many cars did I sell this week? But the cost to us, the taxpayer, for incarcerating somebody is about $40,000 to $50,000 per year. And restorative justice, what are your views on that?
So I am sitting currently in DuPage County, and I am a strong advocate for restorative justice. And so in DuPage County, we have a couple of different programs that help our younger offenders who are charged with, felonies. Now, some felonies are not eligible for that, obviously.
Yes.
But in DuPage, we have drug court for first-time drug offenders. We have mental health court, and we have veterans court. So if you qualify to get into one of these specialty courts and you can successfully complete the program, then your cases are eligible to be sealed or even expunged. And that is a path to citizenship, homeownership, and to employment. So our goal in the judiciary is, not to just, punish people. We want restorative justice. We want people to come through the process, come through their mistake in a better place. Punishment and just housing criminals cannot be our answer.
I'm so glad to hear that, especially, youngsters, when they commit a crime, sometimes they're silly. Their brain is really, really not mature enough till they are 25 and up, or 24 and up. And to just shove them into a prison for 20, 30, 40 years, what are we gaining from that? Society is not gaining anything. The punishment, I know that the law says that they have to be this, they have to be that, and the prosecutors are definitely going to ask for the maximum. And we got Congresswoman Marie Newman joining us. Marie, good morning.
Good morning. How is
So
everyone?
we got Judge Peggy O'Connell on the line with us. Marie, you have anything that you would want to ask Judge O'Connell? She's running for the appellate court.
I am aware and welcome, Judge. It's a funny time to be an expert in the law, right? You probably would agree because the law's not being followed as frequently as it's like to be. And you may not have full or upper level constitutional expertise, but I'm sure you'd agree with me that this war is illegal, would you not?
Oh, I almost said which one, but yeah.
God bless you.
The
Yeah.
war that our no war
No,
president just got us into.
Yes, yes. I don't, I think that it is, it's so important for, especially now because we've seen a pretty extensive failure at the federal court system, but it is important that we here in Illinois have the comfort of knowing that the decisions and the precedent that is out there is something that we on the appellate court and the Illinois Supreme Court, that we are willing to follow that and not give in to societal pressures. You can't just be like, oh, okay, well now, it's okay because society kind of wants this to happen. I don't think society wants us to be at war,
Right.
but we have to be very strict in our adherence to precedents, and we're not seeing that in our upper courts.
It's interesting you use the word precedents because I see more and more in more cases, particularly those cases that involve this current administration, that precedent seems to go out the window. Would you agree in this SCOTUS, it has been the least to adhere to precedents? Do you think that's accurate?
I would say yes, and I would say that I was very surprised by the decision that came down not last Monday, but the Monday before, regarding the tariffs, because usually, and a court should never be on a political divide. And I think that we saw the president's outrage during the State of the Union with him picking those people out and basically, scorning them in front of, the whole world to see because he disagreed with their decision. That's it's unheard of. It is unheard of.
Well, thank
They
you
should have
so much for that, Judge O'Connell, and thank you so much for joining us. It is about
Of course.
13 minutes past 9 o'clock. How do people find out more about your campaign?
You can go to my website, judgeoconnell.com, and early voting has started, so get out there and vote.
Thank you again. So, folks, there is Judge Peggy O'Connell joining us over here and on WCPT 820 AM on the Lightning Strike. And thank you again for listening in. And if you have any questions, folks, feel free to call in 773-763-9278. We have had a very, very, very tight program today. And let's come back to Marie. Marie, good morning. What is on your mind? And I know that we are all waiting for Ro Khanna to join us this morning. This is going to be a very interesting conversation. In the first hour, we had a couple of people join us to talk about Raja Krishnamurthy and his campaign. And next week, we are going to be talking about Robin Kelly, and the week after, we're going to talk about Juliana Stratton. And Raja Krishnamurthy definitely has a lot of questions to answer. And Mike is going to reach out to his campaign to see if he would like to come on the air with us next week, the next couple of weeks, anytime, and answer some of the questions that were raised. So, Marie, what's happening with the race now?
So,
general?
what I thought I would do in the moments before we have Congressman Khanna on is talk a little bit, do a quick I know you spoke about the strikes in Iran. Let's call it a war. He keeps calling it a war, so I guess I'll call it a war.
Yeah.
I thought we'd recap real fast for those that are just tuning in now. Obviously, welcome to Ignore at Your Risk. So glad to be here today. In a few moments, we're going to have Congressman Ro Khanna on, who is ranking member on HASC, which is the House Committee on Armed Services. And so it'll be important to hear his overall perspective, and we'll get that shortly. But I thought I would again recap where we're at. So this is just, 4 or 5 days out from delivering a State of the Union address where this president talked about ending 8 wars. Well, to be clear, he didn't. I mean, we all fact checked him, right? He hasn't ended any wars. He engaged in some things that were not wars and pretended to fix it. They are not fixed, and wide variety of things. But he hasn't ended any wars. But now he's engaged in a real one. He's calling it war. He started out by saying it was a major combat operation in Iran. And at that point, early days on Truth Social, he indicated that our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime. So I'm going to pause before I go forward and remind everybody that, well, supposedly he removed that threat, what was it, 7 or 8 months ago, when he, quote unquote, obliterated their nuclear operations. So obviously he did not. So he indicated also that the strikes would be massive and ongoing, and they'll be targeting Iran missile sites and the country's navy, and the reports are clear. So here's what's interesting to me, is that not only is there not an objective, there is no plan. So now we've gotten actual confirmation that Khamenei, their supreme leader, has in fact been killed. So if we believe that, and it looks like it is true,
Maria, I want to jump in on that thing over there. They claim that the Israelis, they found the body of Khamenei in the rubble. Now, my question is, what were the Israelis doing in Iran on the ground to be able to pull Khamenei's body out? I don't believe half of the things that I'm hearing, Marie. Okay, and
right, yeah,
when
we'll
you
see.
have 20,000
Yeah.
pound bombs flattening the entire compound, it is like finding those passports of the 9/11 hijackers in the plane crash. Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
And again, so
there
we
is
can only
something
go
there
with
that
what
I
we've
don't
heard.
trust.
I think what you point out is exactly accurate, that we oftentimes get one story from that part of the world when in fact something else is going on. What we can say is that our news sources, our government, for what it's worth, again, and the Israeli government have said that he's dead. Who knows? And then Iran has confirmed that he's dead. That said, who knows? I mean, honestly, like, we're at that point in the overall scheme of things. So it's clear that this was a joint attack, folks. So just remember that we've been working with Israel, if for weeks, not months, to put this through. Bibi Netanyahu put a lot of pressure on us to join them, and on and on. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put myself on hold for a quick second because it looks like we have a call coming in from DC. So let me just get this, and then if you want to keep going on Iran.
So, folks, you are tuned in to the Lightning Strike. I'm your host, Muhammad Fahim. Joining me today is my team, Read Bible, Dr. Sheila White, and Mike Patino, and
Mary
Newman.
So you have the link, the Zoom link, right?
Yep. We're going to bring in Ro Khanna in just a minute with Congresswoman Mary Newman to continue the conversation over here. And if you have any questions, if you just want to make
it looks
comment,
like we have Congressman Khanna joining us.
Okay, I don't see him. Maria, as soon as I see him in the waiting room, I'll bring him in.
Yeah.
And again, I was just telling our listeners that if you have any questions, feel free to text us 773-763-9278. Oh, I do hear his voice.
All
Good morning,
right.
Congressman. How are you?
Do we have him coming through?
Yep. Let me see if I can get him in. I can
All right,
hear.
Hello. There we are. looks Congressman Khanna.
There he is.
There he is.
Hello.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Oh, you might be on mute.
Yep, he is muted now. He's
Hey,
unmuted.
Marie, great to see you.
Great to see you. Thank you for joining us on this early morning. We know you're going to be on a couple of Sunday shows, so we're going to keep it short and sweet and get all your wisdom quickly. Let me introduce Congressman Khanna, who is ranking member on the House Armed Services Committee and also a leader on oversight. Most recently, you've heard a lot about him, right? He's leading the charge on the Epstein files, but also leading the charge on a War Powers Act, which would limit President Trump's ability to invade places, go to war, and all these things he seems to be fond of doing lately. So with that, I thank you for being here, but I'd like to just get your overall perspective, Congressman Khanna, on what you think this objective really was in this war and what's really going on. And also, can you confirm Khomeini's dead?
Well, Marie, thank you for having me. You were such a great colleague, a great friend, and honored to be here. I wouldn't do this for anyone other than Marie. So I appreciate
Hey,
it.
come on, Congressman. I left a message for you too. Okay. No, thank you so much for joining us.
This has been Netanyahu's project for the last 30 years. This has been Lindsey Graham's project for the last 30 years. They want regime change in Iran. The problem is, and I have no special insight beyond the public reporting. It looks like Khamenei has been killed from all the public reporting. But the problem is that doesn't mean that the IRGC is done. I mean, obviously, the Assembly of Elders are going to pick the next in line. They already had done that. I mean, Khamenei was 86 years old. So they have a process for that. And the question for the United States is, are we going to have civil war in Iran? Are we going to have bloodshed there? How long are we going to have our presence there? It's not just troops on the ground. Are we going to have our aircraft carriers at billions of dollars of expense there? Are we going to have our troops at risk? But, Donald Trump ran in 2016 saying regime change wars were absolute failures. And he ran against people like Lindsey Graham, and he's just now adopted the Lindsey Graham foreign policy, which has failed in Iraq, even though Saddam Hussein was a terrible dictator, failed in Libya, even though Gaddafi was a terrible dictator, and from all indications is not going to succeed in Iran.
Yeah, it appears so, right? And what's more worrisome, and I think what the American people want to know, Congressman, is, so what's the end game here? Let's say that, in fact, Khomeini is dead. There's no one who has been designated to put him together. The insurgents, if you will, the activists on the ground that want some form of democracy or representative democracy are not organized enough, nor do they have a structure, nor do they have any infrastructure. And it sounds like the internet's still out. So who's going to take over? Like, do we have any guesses at all?
We don't. I mean, other than the process of the IRGC is to have an assembly of experts that pick the next leader, which they have 3 people in line. But that person could be more repressive or authoritarian than even Khamenei. I mean, so it's not like we are saying, okay, we're going to send our military in to stand with the protesters and take on the IRGC in a bloody civil war. And the IRGC still has weapons. They still have the monopoly on force in Iran. And so the question is, it would be magical, maybe. I mean, I'd love for it to happen if suddenly the IRGC says, okay, the people we were killing, the protesters just 2 weeks ago, now we're going to work with them to build a new government. My guess is that that's not what's going to happen. What will happen is Donald Trump will say, I took out the Ayatollah and declare victory. But what will be left in place is a brutal Iranian regime still, which is fighting with more violence in Iran and has destabilized the entire area. Now, that may be what Netanyahu wants, a destabilized, weaker Iran in the region, but that's not good for the Iranian people or for world peace or for America, which is now spending more money on our military there instead of jobs at home, seeing oil prices likely to rise with the Strait of Hormuz threatened, and not clear what the framework is going forward.
Yeah, it certainly is unclear and feels chaotic at the eye of the American public. But so legislation, right? You and Congressman Massey, who have partnered on Epstein files and other important pieces of legislation, are now putting forth a war powers resolution. Just touch on that and let us know if there is viability that will come to the floor this week.
It's going to come to the floor. It's going to come on Thursday. It's going to be as consequential a vote as the war in Iraq was.
Yeah.
And, you know, every Democrat is going to have a choice. Are they going to vote with Lindsey Graham, who doesn't believe in war powers? He said today on Meet the Press, I believe that the war powers are unconstitutional. And he's led for every war. At least he's consistent. You know, he was in for Iraq. He was for Libya. He was for Afghanistan. Makes total sense that he's for this. What I don't understand is how any Democrat can vote for this. I mean, they are literally voting with Lindsey Graham and a neocon foreign policy. And so if we can hold our 212, and that there are a few on the fence right now, people like Gottheimer and Moskowitz in Florida, if we can hold our 212, then there are a few Republicans we've got to pick off. There's a chance. I'd say it's 40-60 to pass, but this is the most consequential vote, and we need to do all of our diplomacy that we can and outreach that we can, especially to our side, to hold our side.
Right, right. And so let's say that Moskowitz and Gottheimer and whoever else doesn't vote with the Democrats. You think you have, what would that be, 3 or 4? You would need 3 or 4 Republicans you would need numerically?
You would then need 7 or 8, and I don't think we have that.
Yeah.
So we need all 212, and then we've got to get 2 more Republicans. That's how we did the Epstein Transparency Act.
Right.
So it's a heavy lift. But at the very least, I would like the Democrats to be unified in opposing this, so that it's clear it's a Republican war.
Right.
And you know, it's mind-boggling to me that we still have some Republicans defecting. I'm also so annoyed by some of these statements from Democrats, which start out with every rationale for potentially having a regime change war, and then just saying, well, they didn't come to Congress, so I'm against it procedurally. No, how about being against it substantively? How about saying that the American people are done with these wars overseas and want our money going to our jobs and our healthcare?
Right. And, you know, to that end, what I'd like to ask you is, in Congress right now, let's say war powers, again, you said put 40-60 on it, may not pass. What else can be done, Ro, that may be either procedural, some other form of pressure that you may be like plan B? Where are we at with that?
Well, we could obviously limit the funding. I mean, that's the ultimate control that Congress has. That's how we stopped Vietnam ultimately, which was that we could just say we're not going to appropriate money for this kind of action. But that's harder than the war powers resolution. I mean, Donald Trump wants $1.5 trillion for the military. He wants to take a $1 trillion budget and basically increase it by 50% when the Pentagon budget is already 56% of our spending.
And one could say that this is not necessarily budgeted money we have allotted to this new war in Iran, right? So how much are we spending right now that was not necessarily budgeted in the form that it's taken?
Well, that's one thing I'm going to ask in the next defense budget, is to understand from the Pentagon exactly how much is the cost of this. And the cost is not just our fighter jets going over Iran and the ammunition we're unloading. It's also the fact that we're sending a second aircraft carrier there. That's very expensive. I mean, my guess is it's billions of dollars of expense that could have gone to build housing, that could have gone to provide everyone with childcare in this country, that could have gone to provide healthcare to the people who are losing healthcare. So, you know, that's what we have to look at this. We've got a ICE agency that has gone rogue, that is taking $75 billion. We've got a war that is rogue, that is taking billions of dollars. And then we've got people losing healthcare. We've got people losing childcare. We've got people who can't afford housing. And that's why the American people are so upset.
Right. Well, we asked you for 6 and we took 8. So I know you got to get back to the Sunday show. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll check back in with you soon. Be safe.
Thank you for your leadership, Marie. You got a great group there. I know many of them, and I appreciate all of your voice. And I do believe there's an emerging progressive consensus in this country of common sense and against militarism, for jobs, for healthcare, for childcare. So I appreciate your work on that.
From your lips to God's ears. Thank you so much for joining. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Well, folks, that is Congressman Ro Khanna joining us this morning at such short notice, and it was a pleasure to have him join us. And thank you, Murray, for bringing him into the conversation. Very important, Murray. Ro was talking about the cost to us, the taxpayer. I was looking at some of the numbers this morning. It is costing us $12 million per day
Right.
to have those big aircraft carriers and ships out there. $12 million for two of them per day.
Right. And what I'm most worried about, and I'll tell you, I had a grim conversation with a former general last night. He said odds are in this situation that somewhere between the moment that we're speaking right now and 48 hours from now, we one of our brave service women and men will be killed. Right. So odds are. So this is the thing, is that, and this is what everybody forgets, is that all of us are humans, all of us have moms, all of us have dads. Like, this is the cost is astronomical, but even worse, the human cost is much more dramatic. And what Donald Trump, Lindsey Graham, and all these crazy gung-ho war hawks don't consider is that families are devastated by this, and they already can't afford healthcare. Now they're losing their children. So honestly, like I have no word that appropriately identifies how repugnant this war is. And you heard the most important thing that we gleaned from the conversation with Congressman Khanna was there's no plan, there's no objective, and there's no handoff system. So they went in all cowboy guns with guns blazing, and there was no plan on the ground, and nobody knows what's going to go. And it will likely end in the IRG and the insurgents at civil war, very likely, right? So here we are again, creating a civil war. This is what we do. We're very good. I hate to say that. I'm the most patriotic person you can imagine, but we are very good at creating civil war in other places. Also, important fact this general reminded me of last night, and I double checked. We haven't had a successful regime change since World War II. We're going on 100 years, folks.
Yep, and Marie, I totally agree with you. One of the things that I was saying in the first hour, social media is going crazy with all kinds of videos, all kinds of so-called experts coming in. We have to be very careful, folks. We have to make sure that whatever that we share, whatever we talk about, is based on facts. That is something that WCPT is very particular about. Facts matter over here. Okay, so anything that Marie and Reed and Sheila and Mike and I are saying, we have done our research, folks. We want to make sure that we are not sharing stories with you or any kind of crazy theories with you. It has to be based on facts. Okay, having said that, the fact of the matter is that this is an illegal war, no matter what our president wants to call it. Congress has not authorized it. And Reed, you were saying in our conversation, what is that segment of the Constitution? What is that section of the Constitution that says that the president does not have the power to declare war?
It is Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11. It's right there at the very beginning of the Constitution. Even Donald Trump can read one page, and it's the very first one after the preamble. So,
oh, that's the sharpest tongue I've heard from Reed ever. He's always so diplomatic. I'm very impressed.
Well, I'm just frosted by this, Marie.
I know.
How often are we going to do this? And and just as you mentioned, the blood that's going to be shed is our sons and daughters, our brothers and sisters, and we're going to be adding more to the tremendous national debt to boot. And why? Because this country is not a threat immediately to us. No. And all we're doing is serving the interests of Israel. And they never seem to pay what we pay for these expansionist policies of Bibi Netanyahu's.
The
So
other thing,
one of the things that I want to quickly interject in here is Maria Muzaffar is unable to join us this morning. So we have our panel here, and we have the time. Let us discuss this thing as thoroughly as possible. And folks, if you want to join the conversation, the number to call in is 773-763-WCPT or 773-763-9278. You are tuned in to the Lightning Strike. I'm your host, Mohammed Fahim, with our co-host Marie Newman, Read Bible, Dr. Sheila White, and Mike Patino. We come every Sunday morning from 8 to 10. And you are welcome to join the conversation. And after the show, this entire episode will be posted on our website, TLS Radio, for thelightningstrikeradio.com, and our Facebook and our YouTube and other social media pages. Let us continue the conversation. Go ahead, please, Marie.
sure. I was reflecting after I had that conversation last night on a bunch of things having to do with this war. And the other thing that, the obvious is true is the questions remain out there. Back to the facts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is he creating this war as a diversion? Maybe. Is he paying a debt back to Bibi because Bibi did something for him or many things for him? But the fact remains, what I think we can all agree, and this is something, if you watched all of the shows last night, because I was kind of skimming everything in preparation for today, is that what all the Army and military experts are saying is that, again, the likelihood of this becoming a regional war, given now, because what we've seen is that, in fact, Iran is coming back at us and hitting our military installations. But as part of that, in Bahrain, they hit a big skyscraper. In all of these places where we have installations and military bases, they're hitting back. And don't ever underestimate what anger can do for a country, right? Because this country may not have fantastic military weaponry and all the things, but they can hurt people. They can hurt people beyond Americans, by the way. So this notion that this is a low-cost war or whatever disgusting thing this administration has said is it will be a regional war. That's my point. It will.
Marie, I got family in UAE. I got family in Qatar. I've got family in Bahrain. And they have been, sharing messages as to what they are seeing, that the Irani response has been so tremendous. They're telling me that their walls are shaking, their mirrors are shaking on the walls of their houses. And every airline in that region has suspended operations. People have been held up at the Dubai International Airport. The airport has been hit also on the international section. A drone has hit that. Travelers are totally displaced over there. This is the month of Ramadan, and in Ramadan, it is very important for Muslims to go and do the minor pilgrimage in Saudi Arabia called the Umrah.
Yeah.
People are unable to go for that.
Right.
Okay, from all over the world. So it's not just the immediate impact that is going to happen on our economy. I was also just reading this morning that the Strait of Hormuz might be closed.
Yeah, it sounds like it is. It sounds like that's
okay, and 45% of the world's commerce flows through there. 25% of the world's oil flows through there. I don't know what Netanyahu has on our politicians, not just the president.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting, right? Is that, there's a lot of theories out there, and some of them are conspiracy theories, that both Putin and Netanyahu have information that is blackmail in nature to our senators, potentially House members, and against this current president. Well, we haven't seen that proof yet. I have to say that if you put truth serum into Donald Trump's veins, and somehow for one day he had to tell the truth and could tell the truth, I don't think he's capable. I have a friend calling it like it's not just pathological lying, it's neurological lying. Like that's the only thing he knows how to do with the system is. So I think if you put that truth serum in, he wouldn't be able to tell you that it was because there was an imminent threat. He wouldn't be able to tell you because there's instability in the region, that, you know, it's that they wouldn't. And we also, I want to remind our listeners, we now have evidence from the EU and Asia world leaders that in fact the Iranian leaders came to the US no less than 10 times over the last 4 weeks to negotiate, no less than 10 times. So this notion that they wouldn't negotiate, and that's why we went in, that's not part of the truth serum mix either. So, you know, why are you doing this? Other than, okay, let's say it's distracting from the Epstein files. How long will that need to last? And by the way, that's only going to last so long. I mean, we're going to get back to the Epstein files. I hate to tell them. So good luck with that, Sweet Pea, you know.
Congressman, I have a question in reference to the value of efficiency and honesty and respect for the legal process. How does this administration just get away with disobeying the rule of law in different circumstances, especially in Congress? I mean, it's like I don't understand that. How is that happening?
He has so put the fear into all of the GOP, every member of the House and Senate. Remember, this is, you know, like all of these people want to keep their jobs, which is sad to me, right? Whenever I've been in a bad job and there are bad people around me, I've said, you know, this isn't kind of worth it. I'm going to find a new job because obviously I'm not wealthy. I have to find a new job, but I work on finding a new job, right? You know, because I can't be around all these people that are not great. And that's only happened once or twice in my life. One of them was Congress. The reality is that people don't want to lose their job. These people like the power that they have. They like this lifestyle that they're used to, all of the things, right? They also are fiercely competitive. And I've got to tell you what a lot of these members of Congress on both sides of the aisle, they have a strong, strong sense of vendetta. It is a weird thing in Congress that they carry this backpack of, just like Trump does, not all to the degree he does, this list of names like Susie and Janie and Tommy and Jose, they all wronged me, so I'm going to get them, you know, and they all have this weirdo, creepy list, right? And so there's that piece, right? And, you know, so the psychological piece is strong. And then remember, Oath Keepers and Proud Boys are showing up at major senators' house. We know what happened to Thune. We know what happened to Murkowski. We know what's happened to Massey, like, right? Like, they're physically worried, right? So at the end of the day, when you live in constant fear, and I've told that when I've been a CEO before, I've sat my team down and said, when you operate in fear is when you are your least effective. And so they're all, the headline is they're operating in fear, Sheila. I don't know else how to say it.
Wow.
Murray, one of the things that I have always been, I've been advocating for is term limits for our senators and our Congress people.
Amen.
The blowback that I get on that is, oh, no, they have to have the experience and the institutional knowledge. And my comeback has always been that most of the time the work is done by the people on their teams. And these people, they just spend their time, like our Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy does, raising funds for the next election, okay? And responding to requests from the donors rather than the constituents.
There is some of that.
You know,
I do want to be fair and balanced here, right? Is that there are folks like that. And it's like many organizations, there's the 3/3 rule that is a kind of a old business term, right? Is that 1/3 of the people are very passionate about the business and incredibly ethical, and they work hard and all the things. Another third on the other end of the spectrum, it's just a paycheck and they're just putting the bare minimum in. And then the middle third is a combination depending on what's happening in the world and in their life, right? And that's true in any organization. So that's definitely happening. But back to the term limits question, like, yeah, there are, and by the way, you kind of learn the ropes by 6 months in, just to be clear, in Congress.
Okay.
this is not brain surgery. I hate to say it to everybody, but no, and you have your slot, right? Is that so? When I was in Congress, I would never dream of making assumptions about the Constitution. I would go to Jamie Raskin because he's our, Congress's expert on the Constitution. If it were, something on the with having to do with armed services, I would go to Roe, right? If it was international relations, I would go to the Foreign Relations Committee. Greg Meeks was the chair at the time, right? So you go to the experts, right? And you understand, and then there's sub-experts and all the things. So the notion that we need all of this institutional knowledge is silly because the institutional knowledge sits in all the books and in the parliamentarian's hand. There's a parliamentarian in the House and in the Senate, right? So that sits in their hand. So the notion that we need all this institutional knowledge, you get it after a term or two, right? It's not brain surgery. And so is it important to have smart, rational, quick learners? Yeah, it is. Is it important to have some people be in there for 3 or 4 terms and then maybe recycle out? Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Maybe it's 5 terms, who knows? What I do know is that I believe in term limits, I've had the benefit of being outside the House and inside the House, right? So I think we do need term limits in a robust way. But I also think we need to look at the House term. Is 2 years the right thing? Is it 3? Is it 4? Maybe Senate stays at 6. I don't know. But the length of the term, because you're right, you picked up on something, is that the second you get elected, everybody's fundraising again. And it is a 50% of your time. I really scoffed at that. And then I got in and man, I didn't do it 50% of the time and I didn't get reelected. So
Okay.
that's where it's at. Go ahead, Reed.
Well, Reed is raising his hand. Reed, we got Demi Palasek joining us also. So if
I'll be real quick.
Hold your question for a few minutes till we bring in Demi Palasek. And Demi, good morning. Thank you so much for switching around your schedule to join us in the second hour. We had you scheduled for the first hour, and then, the proverbial, the brown stuff hit the fan. So we had to kind of focus on where our no war president, who ran on the promise of no more foreign wars, no more regime change, took us into overnight. And
Mohammed, I do want to share something, and it's sadly prescient to what I said not 15 minutes ago. So AP is reporting that U.S. military said 3 service members have been killed and 5 others seriously wounded since operations began. They are known as the first American casualties from this war.
That's what I wanted to interject here. Is that?
Oh, sorry, Reed. I didn't mean to steal the
all I can say is, my God, and I'll guarantee you that those people that give their life, they are not related to anyone in our Congress or the Senate or our president. Okay, our kids are losing their lives. Demi, if you could please unmute yourself and introduce yourself to our listeners over here. I know that you are running for the 13th district in Illinois for the Illinois State House. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Thank you all so much for having me. Sorry, as you said, I'm running for 13th district state representative, so we are up early running around. So I'm on my way to another canvas launch this morning to meet volunteers and launch them out of there. But 13th district basically starts in literally the middle of Wrigleyville, like literally half the stadium and half of the field, and then goes up north to Uptown, Andersonville, Edgewater, Ravenswood. So yeah, it's an exciting time. Unfortunately, as you all were just talking about, the administration has made it that much harder. I am in the National Guard. I am one of the 2 in the entire country speaking out against the administration. So recently indicted on the military side for that. But I think it just looks too much like 1920s, 30s, 40s Germany. And I think that we need to be speaking out in full force right now.
Well, I see that you're driving, so thank you so much for joining us while you're driving. And so State House, Demi, when you get elected, what are your top priorities?
Yeah, I mean, so I am Mexican. My family, my mom is from Mexico. It took most of her life to get papers, and I grew up actually in Southern Illinois. So I was the Mexican there. So there was a lot of racism, and it caused her actually to have a lot of mental health issues. So she became schizophrenic and bipolar along with fighting racism. And my family now is in hiding because of what this administration is doing. So I want to hold ICE accountable. I want trials for ICE agents, and I want real pathways to citizenship because it's been a while since we've truly seen that. I am married to someone undocumented, and we've been trying for several years to get a pathway. And even with my military and political privileges, we've gotten nowhere. And you know, if with the privileges and we've gotten nowhere, what is everyone else supposed to be doing? And it's just a very scary, scary time. So yeah, I want to hold ICE accountable. That is super important to me. I'm working currently right now on the Rifle Act. If any of you have heard about it, it's gun violence prevention.
Marie
Essentially,
seems to have heard of it, and Marie's clapping.
Yeah, so essentially, as taxpayers, we pay $1,800 a year that goes to gun violence issues. I live in Uptown, so kind of spicy sometimes. It's where 3 gangs intersect. And so we'd be holding the 4 surrounding states where the weapons are coming from accountable. So essentially along the same lines as holding someone, a bartender, liable for a DUI if they overserve. So I would like to put that revenue back into the communities, back into our schools and Medicaid, Medicare, which leads me to my next thing is I believe in universal health care. In my district alone, we lost our 3rd hospital in the last 6 years. And it's Weiss Hospital that we just lost, a very big hospital. It was for very low income people. It saved my life. Yes, it had problems, but there was a lot that we could have done there. And if it's a busy night right now in this district and you need an ER visit, which most Americans wait till last second to go get medical help because it's so expensive, you're looking at a 25, maybe 30-minute drive to Evanston. And so that's life threatening, obviously.
Demi, Mike has a question for you.
Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning, Demi. I'm so happy you were able to make it on this show. I know. Thanks for working with us. On the anti-BDS legislation that has been in place for a while, do you have any plans to eliminate that once you get in as a state rep?
I'm pro-Palestine. I am dyslexic, so I always mess this up. So I don't want to mess up the wording because it's like a double negative. I would sign on. I think that we should be able to boycott who we want. I do not want to put money into Israel, and I do not think that we should be bombing children. This has gone on for far too long. We have been bending the knee to Israel for way too long, and it needs to stop years ago. But I will be at the forefront to abolish that. Yeah, and I mean, what we're seeing right now in Iran, I mean, we need to stop bullying all these countries. And as a person in the military of 14 years, I'm a pro-peace, anti-imperialist veteran. We do not need to keep doing this, and I don't know why we keep hurting other countries. It's disgusting.
Thank you. Thank you.
For a little bit,
Demi Palisek joining us. She is running for the 13th district in Illinois, not Congress. And Marie, you had
so Demi, I'm glad you said that because I do that too, where it's like the double negative. I have to think about that. So
I know
roughly around 2015, and for our viewers, this is not for you. You're obviously well versed in the law, but for our viewers and for our listeners online. In Illinois, right around 2015, there was a bill put in place that would not allow for free speech in the form of boycott divestments against Israel. So what happened is that someone in the state legislature, there were a series of lawmakers that decided that free speech was not a thing in Illinois, and boycotts and disinvestment is not a thing. And so this law was put in place. And there's a law right now that actually Demi is advocating for, so thank you for that, as well as members of the state legislature led by Rep. Rashid to repeal that bad law that takes away First Amendment speech, and we'll put it back in place and allow folks to boycott when they want and don't want to invest in Israeli companies. So just as a backdrop for our listeners and for our conversation here.
Thank you, Marie, for clarifying that. Again, people, the important thing that we have to understand is that this is our country. And we were just saying, Demi, a few minutes back, we are spending $12 million a day just on those two aircraft, carriers out there in the Middle East. We're not talking about all the other expenses that are going out there. Anytime that someone shoots one of those bullets out, okay, they got to replace it. So the military industrial complex is minting money off of these wars, and we got to put our foot down. And at the state level now, how would you work with the local party leadership that is hell-bent on not allowing new blood to come into the political process?
Oh, that's a good question because I am not the established candidate. I am more left. I'm younger. And I am backed by David Hogg, Leaders We Deserve, for that exact reason, because I am going against them. I am going against the status quo. I don't look or sound like a typical politician. I'm a working class person. I have tattoos on my arms. I
Let's see
am a
them. Let's
normal.
see them.
Yeah,
Come
I'll show you.
on.
I like to prove I'm Mexican with that, Selena.
Okay.
Bona
He was out
fide.
of a
Yeah.
gumball machine. Yeah. But I'm a normal person. I'm the person of the district. I'm working class, and that is what we want to see more of. Like how disconnected some people are from their constituents is really appalling and scary, and why we're in this situation to begin with.
Yeah.
They don't know our needs. I saw a party the other day from people who are in the establishment, and it was the same night that I was making sandwiches. I do a monthly for Sandwich for Solidarity event. And we are making sandwiches for hundreds of families who are displaced or in hiding or just need food. And these people had lobster claws and tuna tartare and a ice fountain. And I was like,
Oh, God.
there can be a different diversity of what is happening in the party. But I mean, it resonates with so many people. How many millennials have 2 or 3 jobs? I mean, I was texting one of my opponents the other day. He's Gen Z. And I was like, if this other candidate wins, you and I can't live here anymore. And he's like, no, I know. Because he is taking AIPAC money, he's taking Meta money and DraftKings money. And that agreement means that they will be doing and beholden to their donors, as I am not. I don't take any dirty money like that. So, they make fun of me. I'm beholden to the people, but that is how it should be.
Okay, it's 9:56. We got 4 minutes to finish off the show. Demi, how do people find out more information about you and how can they support you?
Yes, please go to DemiForIllinois.com. That's my website. And then Demi for Illinois, literally on anything. I have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Blue Sky. X is kind of dead. I don't ever use it. I don't like it. But yeah, feel free to reach out. I would love, as I said, grassroots. So donations go a long way in this campaign. Come volunteer, knock some doors. We also do wellness checks on our senior citizens. And we also have the capabilities in this campaign that a lot of disabled people who have never been able to volunteer for campaigns before are able to. So they can phone bank. We have several initiatives there that are helpful. And spread the word. If you can share, follow. Also, I organize the Women's March every year. That is coming up on March 8th. So I'd love to see as many people out as we can. Come to some events. We do a lot of things in the community.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Demi, folks. This is Demi Pelisic. She is running for the 13th district in the state of Illinois for the Illinois State House. And go back and find out more information about her. We got 2 minutes to finish off the show. And Marie, let's wrap up the discussions for today. And folks, you are tuned in to The Lightning Strike. I'm your host, Muhammad Fahim. We come every Sunday morning from 8 to 10. Do tune in and listen to the facts. Do not listen to what you're listening to and looking at social media. Everybody got an axe to grind, and especially with AI now, you don't know what the truth is. Marie, I'm going to launch another thing called as Untruth Social. How about that? Okay.
Oh my
We
God.
got a president, folks, who really lays out his policies on his own social media platform. Just think about it. We have never had a chief executive with his own social media platform announcing national policies. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. All he's trying to do is bring up or hike up the value of his social media platform, Truth Social, so that more people join it and the value goes up. Demi Palisik, thank you for joining us. It's 9:59. We'll be wrapping up the show for today, folks. You are tuned in to the Lightning Strike. Do go to our website, tlsradio.com. We will be posting this episode over there by the end of the day today or first thing tomorrow morning. It takes a couple of hours to do the editing and post these things up. We are also live on Facebook, and for all our Facebook friends who have joined us, thank you for joining us on Facebook. And the episode will be posted on our Facebook page also, which is TLS Radio on Facebook, and on our YouTube channel, which is TLS, again, TLS Radio on YouTube. After the show, we do have a lot of places that you can go back and listen to the show, including on SoundCloud on the WCPT website.
The extent applicable their guests. The views and opinions expressed therein do
saying
not
that we are running out of time on
necessarily
WCPT. Thanks so
Signal,
much for joining us. We'll
LLC,
see you again
Sports
next Sunday. And we will be talking about Congresswoman Robin Kelly next Sunday on the Lightning Strike. Thank you again for joining us. We'll see you next
NBC
Sunday.
News
Same place,
Radio,
same
I'm
time.
Scott Carr. Russia and China are both condemning the U.S.-Israeli attack on Iran. Russian leader Vladimir Putin calls the death of